I may clip all this and just upload it to YouTube just to answer a lot of questions about this patch and everything about that. But let's see it. We don't. I will say this. I will say it is extremely funny that I think people looked at the changes and they're like, "This doesn't do shit to goats. We're still fucked." And they're like, they were going to release. They were talking about releasing the second update next week sometime. But I think they wanted to release the patch notes now because everyone's just flipping the fuck out. So yeah, give me a second. We'll... All right, let's start this. All right, so let's talk about. There's 3 things I want to cover today. Is the PTR change notes, including the ones that just happened a minute ago. This is just a side effect of what happened to Diva, and then we'll go over this video and why I'm kind of so pissed off about this. But first of all, let's see. So this is the Baptist update. The real thing about this guy. Well, let's sure. Let's talk about Baptist. So, AoE healing. Also, he charges his ult pretty goddamn quick. Obviously, it's good. They said they were going to make a new main healer. Cool, that's fine. They just wanted. I think they wanted a main healer with damage. Or more damage focused than Ana. I believe that's one of the bigger things about him, but the biggest thing about him, obviously, is the immortality field. The regen burst is only self-sufficient heal, so he has one self-sufficient heal, and it's on a long cooldown. I believe it's 12 seconds. So careful about that. Like, he can use, if you can make him waste it, he's done. Also, it only activates once, meaning if you're not around him when he presses the button, you do not get it at all. It's not like Lucio, where you're just around him and you keep on getting healed and healed and healed, and it lasts a certain amount of time. No, like if you're not there at the initial click, you're done. You're not going to get it. He has a decent gun, 3-shot, 25 burst, primary fire. At first you're like, oh man, if that crits, that's a lot of damage, because it can go to 150 then. But truth be told, you see it during games, and you're like, okay, that does feel significantly weak. So he's in a decent place. I like him. But this immortality field is pretty much a reason. So it's basically an ultimate, but it's not. So what does that mean? It means all of those core usages you see for Zen and Lucio to save their team, and some of them aren't even savable because of the burst damage. This is pretty much a response to goats and ultimates that essentially no one follows up on. Right? It's the times where they throw a grab out and they drag it and they just stay back and that's it. Because the immortality field stays up even after destroying for a couple seconds, it survives. It'll make the team survive Diva Bomb and Junkrat Tire, something like that. But essentially, it's an ability that's designed to save the team like a support's ultimate, but without being an ultimate. That's the big, I think, concept with the hero, and giving the players the ability to just be like, all right, we're tired of these burst alts, we're tired of all this stuff, let's run Baptist, and now he can heal, he can do that job, but more importantly, we're keeping him around for the immortality field. That's the big one. As for the boost, jumping over obstacles stuff, he can jump pretty high, and that's just to give him some vertical mobility, but he doesn't have horizontal mobility, so it's a big deal. Yeah, I think that's good. It means he can't get away. He really has no escape. You land your shots, you got a regen, but the regen is 150 hit points over, someone can correct me if I'm wrong, I believe it's 4 seconds. 4 or 5 seconds, so you can burst them down still. Yeah. But Immortality Field is this big deal. Amplification Matrix, yeah, it's cool. I get it. It's really strong. You can stack. I get it. But that's kind of a red herring to Immortality Field. And it's basically role of making sure you can save support alts, or you don't even have to use them. That's a big thing about that. The weird thing about Immortality Field, yes, there's a lot of interactions, like Bastion can get kind of funky behind a shield with Immortality. I think that's kind of cool, actually. I like that. It helps against double sniper meta, And what's really going to be crazy is people are going to be like, because it has 250 health, that's 3 shots from a sniper to kill it. The fact that people are going to be like, oh man, snipers aren't as strong now. Man, this feels great. It just kind of goes to show you that they should have just nerfed Widow and Hanzo a long time ago. It's ridiculous that we need to make someone immortal for us to figure that out, but I think we're going to start seeing that. As for the immortality field and its relevance to Junkrat, because Junkrat does a lot of splash damage over the shields, it will give him some viability. Maybe Junkrat can help take it down, but because of the splash damage fall off and because of mine, you're going to have to be pretty damn accurate over a Reinhardt shield to get to this bitch. Also, D.Va's just going to defensive matrix it. Not a big deal. This change, it is actually not as bad as everyone thinks it is. So, damage over time, big whoop. But they actually went in to talk about how this works. Okay, it wasn't in this one. Essentially, Winston got a straight buff against armor. Moira stayed the same. Zarya and Symmetra, it's the same at low charge levels, but a significant nerf at higher charge level. So, essentially, beam damage just gets a 20% damage hit flat no matter what your tick rate is. And they even said they don't even like the word tick rate. Basically, no matter how your damage is, if it's a beam type damage, then it's just going to be a flat 20% reduction. Yeah, so this is more, I would take out of this is Winston gets a buff, high charge Zarya gets a nerf. As for damage over time, no longer mitigated by armor, sure, I guess this means Dynamite can strip armor a bit better. As for damage boost, it's now applied when the projectile is fired rather than when it hits a target. I think this is just for simplicity's sake. New players are like, wait, when do I boost you? Wait, I have to time it when that actually hits. And so as a Junkrat grenade, personally, because I mean it's a projectile, so Junkrat's one of the big victors here, is like if I shoot a Junkrat nade and I'm planning to bounce it 3 times, the Mercy doesn't fucking know. Right? She's not gonna know. No damage boost is gonna know. Specifically, also with Orisa ult. It sucks when I'm shooting my last nades and then the damage boost falls off, or I go in cover and I lose that damage boost. So that's kind of nice. Eve can't eat Immortality Field. I know she can't, but she can sure as hell protect it. Knockback. This is the big one, boys. This is actually a bigger change than anyone is letting on to believe. No one is talking about this. This is, I think, one of the biggest changes in this patch. So, a side effect of this is now D.Va is affected by speed boost. Vroom! This is not sped up. That is in real time. D.Va, on the PTR right now, unless they patch this, this is like worse than Blimp Tire. We'll get back to that when it works itself out. Thanks, Twitter. You're a great mobile service, video service. You know what? Fuck, we're done. All right. So, what this means is Mei now slows D.Va when she uses Booster. That's a pretty big one. If you don't got a Lucio to boost you out, I think D.Va will now die pretty quickly to Mei. Also, Pharah Concussive Blast and Junkrat Concussive Mine can now knock D.Va and Mercy when they're flying out of the air. So if D.Va's charging at you and she doesn't have defensive matrix, you can hit her and it will push her away now. She's affected by knockback. It's really important, especially with dashing Mercies, because I think Mercy may be getting picked up a little bit now with the changes that really happened that we'll talk about up here. With Zen getting nerfed, Mercy now holds the key to the highest damage boost on a regular basis, not alt, we should say. The slowness stack now impact the height of Pharah's boost. That's something I would have to check. I don't know that. But, yeah, I think everyone remembers, not even remembers, it can still happen now. Mercy can dash through Hog Alt. No more. When Mercy dashes and tries to go somewhere, you can now knock her around. This is great. Wait, what about Junkrat knocking Diva back with mine? Yep, you can do that now. So this is actually a really big... I'll have to see how it works with just normal people. Oh, this also... this removes Reinhardt and Diva and Orisa not getting knocked back or getting knocked back less when they're holding a shield or moving slower. And also, this is a huge Lucio boost, and we're going to see this impacted. We're going to see how big of an impact this is, I should say. Lucio, you cannot affect knockback as much as you could before by moving against it or with it. It's more consistent. So all those times that Lucio boops someone and you're like, oh, I'm glad I was moving forward because he tried to push me backwards to do a pit, that will probably kill you now. This is actually knockback. This is a change to the physics engine as far as I'm concerned, and it's probably the most wide-sweeping change in the patch. I don't know why no one's talking about this, but this is actually quite important. Sound, it's cool, whatever. More feedback for users. Just have to get used to the sound. No big deal. On a boost, I think this is not nerfed enough. 50 health, and I guess it nerfs it by 100 if someone's naded. I still think it needs to be 150. I think healing 150, so 300 with a Bionic Grenade is plenty. I think 250 is still a bit too much. But I'm glad they're looking at that and they realized 300 was definitely excessive. Doomfist, ability-based hero, all his abilities are lowered. What you should get out of this is not... Don't even care about this. Just think about what it means. It means they think his abilities are good where they're at, and they just want to see him use them more or improve like how they're used. So I think what this tells me, like I'm thinking from a design perspective, is that they're not going to mess with the damage numbers or the CC or anything like that on Doomfist. They simply are going to buff him in other ways instead of giving any of that back. So all the people that want Doomfist reverted, this should be a nail in the coffin. For those that like, oh, Doomfist maybe got hit a little bit too hard, but it'd be nice if he got played a little bit more. This is in the right direction of that. Do damage boosts keep multiplying? Yes. You can stack. There is no limit on offensive stacking on damage. So Hanzo. Sonic Arrow. Whatever. I don't give a fuck. Cool. That's great. 2 meters. Sure. Whatever. That's like a half a second of you walking in the game. Great. I'm sure it'll help him sometimes. Whatever. I don't really care about Kill Assist. McCree, Fan the Hammer, reduced. This is cool. They increased it by 10. Now they're like, alright, 10 was a lot. Let's reduce it in half. He loses, 30 damage off of this, so maybe you won't see people literally just fanning the hammer to kill everyone. It'll give probably squishy, so 200 hit point heroes, a little bit of leniency. I don't see it saving people that much, but we'll see. Deadeye, this is purely. So there's a change on this one, but we'll talk about it later. Well, we can talk about it now. His damage per second essentially doubles after, it says 2.5 here, but they changed it to 1.5. So after 1.5 seconds, his damage doubles. Essentially, this is going to really hurt turtle comps. Essentially, you use McCree to build your ult. You shield McCree for 4 seconds. I mean, look, after 1.5, it's going to go up to 550. So at 3 seconds, he's going to have 550 from the 1.5 to 2.5. 275. I think he'll be doing 700 damage after 2 seconds, 2.5 seconds. If he holds it for 4 seconds, this damage ramps up massively. It will bust shields. It is designed to kill stuff. We may see what they call Electric Cowboy, which is nano boosting McCree, because this if it goes up by 50%, it's stacking so quickly. It will kill shields instantly. So this is basically attacking tanks. You'll notice a theme here. They are doing whatever they can to throw Mei into the mix to kill Diva. I'm almost 100% sure they're like, if they run D.Va, run Mei, you win. Because D.Va is now affected with by when she's using thrusters by getting slowed by this. Mei's really good against D.Va, and she gets a significant damage increase. I mean that's we'll crunch the numbers. What is it? 22%. Yeah, it's like a 20%, 22% increase in damage. So before Mei, if you shot 2 people with your primary attack, it was more DPS than using your right click. At this point, that's not counting headshots. So if you're freezing 4 people at once, it was as if you're shooting right click with Mei's and constantly getting headshots. That's how much damage you're poking out. Her primary just got a lot stronger. 20%. Health reduced on each of the walls, on each of the columns by 100. That's great. Cool. I think that's fine. This is actually funny. This is actually really important. This actually has more impact than I thought. We'll talk about the Junkrat change in a second. Well, we'll talk about it now, but he does 20 more damage. And so, with 140 damage instead of 120, he will destroy a pillar in 3 shots. This is actually quite... This interaction with this nerf and Junkrat's buff, if Mei is whooping your ass because of wall, Junkrat can now destroy those walls incredibly fast. Bionic Grasp, I think this was just to bring Moira up as a primary healer. This is fine. That's fine. She lacks any, what I would call usage. Like, or side usage. Like, yeah, she heals, great, but she doesn't provide that extra oomph that every other support does. Everyone's like, but what about her damage? Blah, blah, blah. It's like, talk to fucking Zen, alright? Zen's gonna whoop your ass with damage. Moira does get a little bit more healing, but still, it's even furthered. So, I think Moira, this is a good step for Moira because just her damage side ability is just not as good as anything else all the other support heroes provide. Orisa moves faster while shooting. Great. Fucking great. Whatever. If we can have more Orisa, more variety, she's more comparable to Reinhardt. This is great. Her defensive abilities were already really good. It was her offensive, and this is actually, like, spot on. Like, Orisa had hard times pushing forward while shooting. This is great. Pharah, this is reverting the nerf on splash damage. It's back up to 20. Whoop-de-doo. I'm not too worried about this. This is fine. 4 damage on her minimum splash. Whatever. Soldier buff is pretty big. He got back to 20 damage, which means he kills you. If he gets 4 headshots and then Helix, a 200-point hero is dead. I'm not going to say this is going to put him back in the meta, but he's significantly more viable. I know it's only 1 damage, but it puts him over some... It puts him over some needed kill thresholds. And this is the same thing that happened to Junkrat, where the threshold's getting dropped, which is really good. Sprint, nothing much to say about this, but it makes it feel better, which is cool. That's good. As for Tactical Visor being able to target Riptire and Immortality Field, even as a Junkrat player, probably the biggest Junkrat player out there, I don't give a damn. I have used Tire in the stupidest goddamn ways, and it works, and like, I'll sit it on the wall. I won't kill a goddamn person with it. I'll waste it. Fuck, sometimes I just blow a Tire up. I'm like, fuck it, blow it up, fireworks, woo! It's not a big deal. Like, yeah, it sucks, but at the same time, if there's a soldier and he's going to target my Tire over killing my teammates, and it buys my teammates the 2 seconds to survive, worth it. Yeah, not a big deal for me. This is nice, not massive, but it's just nice. That's I would consider this quality of life change. Sombra is probably like, yay. That's about it. Torbjorn, he loses 50 armor on Overload, but he gets 50 armor now to his max health, meaning Hanzo cannot one-shot him. Right, at range, Torb now does not die to Hanzo. Also, it ups how much Widow needs to kill him, like how to charge. Because right now, I believe it's like 0.5 or 0.6 seconds for Widow to get full enough charge to kill you with a headshot. It's making it a little bit more. So this is good. I like it. I honestly want them to do this with more characters. Like, I know Junkrat just got a damage boost, but like, I think all projectile heroes, Pharah included, not Hanzo, fuck Hanzo, but Pharah, Torb, Mei, Junkrat, for them to compete against Hitscan, I think they need 50 more health. In fact, on my blog where I talk about armor changes, I talk about that a lot. This is nice. As for Infrasight revealing enemy health bars, it's strong, but not strong enough. Right now in Overwatch, everything is so burst-oriented that... Guys, if you don't have 100% of your health, you have 0% health. I'm sure there's going to be some situations where you're like, oh, there's a weak guy hiding around the corner I can now see. Great. You know, you're like, hats off to you, great. But I don't think it's going to be that big of a deal. But the fact that it's canceled on death is great, because how many times have you seen a Widowmaker activate her ult and then just get shot and killed? It's now gone. This is great. This is wonderful. And there's no counterplay, which I like this, that they're thinking, they're like, hey, is there counterplay to this? If not, let's introduce it. That's great. Wrecking Ball, this is huge. This is actually really big, because Adaptive Shield, if you use it right now, you actually pop out a ball, and then he has to get his momentum again. No more. He can use it and keep on rolling. The health sight is based on line of sight. Okay, that's good to know, and I guess that makes it more balanced, but it's still, like, I don't want to like downplay how important it is. It's a good change, but at the same time, it's not going to take Widow from like being not picked. You know, I don't know, whatever her pick rate is. It's not going to go up or down like 10%. It's something. I don't want to call it a quality of life, but it's stronger than that. It's good, but don't read into it. It was at this point, and the bug fixes, yeah. It was at this point where I was thinking, I was like, you know what? Fuck you, Blizzard. What did Junkrat get? Not even a goddamn bug fix. Oh wait, no, he did get a bug fix, right? Where's it at? They fixed one of his skins. If you change it in-game, one of his grenades on his armor would spin. That's what they fixed for Junkrat. And so I wasn't upset. I was just kind of disappointed. But lo and behold, as I started the stream today, people threw me a link and they're like, Chro, it's happening. And I was like, what is this? And I just want to do this.
My genius.
This is the second round of PTR changes that they were talking about. There was a lot of talk about, like, we have more changes coming out next week, and it's probably going to target GOATs a lot harder than this. I think people looked at this and they go, GOATs is still good. Fuck you, Blizzard, you don't know what you're doing. And all of a sudden they're like, all right, guys, PR. Just put out the goddamn notes. We'll do it live. Just put out the notes. Tell them we're looking at GOATs in a very serious manner. And so they released these an hour ago. We'll just chill on this one for a second. GOATs is not dead, Doctor. It's less than useful. So, handy dandy calculator. So what this means, let me undo that. Get my handy dandy calculator back. What do I get 3 calculators? I was doing a lot of calculations, guys. All right. So right now, Junkrat, what they mean by impact damage, and the way I'm interpreting this, like I know what impact damage is, but I just don't know if it's gonna be one of those hidden fucking things that Blizzard's like, oh, what we meant was bleh. But what this means is Junkrat, well, all explosives have 2 types of damage. Even micro rockets from D.Va. They have splash damage and they have impact damage. Currently, Junkrat does 80 splash damage and 40 impact damage. They are increasing the impact damage to 60. Which means overall, Junkrat will be doing 140 damage. I think this is a beautiful change. So this does not affect his splash damage at all. If you're like, oh, Junkrat's going to get an insane amount of ult now because his splash damage is ridiculous. Nope. This does not hit splash damage at all. This is simply on direct hits, or if you step on it, that's essentially a direct hit. That's it. So where does this really put Junkrat apart? Well, when Pharah got the speed boost to her attack speed, it halved the DPS between her and Junkrat. So Junkrat's uniqueness was starting to fade as soon as Pharah just got this incredible attack speed, especially with one more in the clip. So with 20 extra damage, he does 140 damage now. And why is this important? Well, 140 plus 120 is 260. This puts him on a 2-hit threshold for all 250 hit point heroes, including Brigitte and Torb now with the armor. So now he 2-shots 250 hit point heroes. More importantly, we'll see the difference matter on tanks. So before, at this point, he would be under 400 damage, which means Zarya used to take 4 shots, which is, as a Junkrat, is immense. Landing that last shot is pretty difficult. Like, if you land 3 shots on a Zarya, you deserve the kill. If Zarya didn't kill you in that time and she didn't have bubble, you've outplayed the Zarya. Good job. You should get that. Before it was 4 hits, now it is 3 hits. So Zarya's down 1 more shot. As important, if we do another one at this point, at this point, at the 4th shot, he does over 500 damage. When before he did 480. Which means Reinhardt and Winston now die with 1 less shot. So the tanks, outside of Hammond, D.Va, Hog, have all dropped down 1 full shot. In fact, most of the cast has dropped down a full shot, except for 300 hit point heroes and 200 and less hit point heroes. And the important thing about 140 is even if you're getting damage boosted by Mercy, you still don't one-shot 200 hit point heroes. The hell is Frag Launcher? That's his primary. So against tanks, it's dropped everything by 1 full damage except for the 600 hit point tanks. Actually, it technically does. Let me take that back. D.Va and Hammond, if they don't use any of their defensive abilities, will now die in a full clip. Before, D.Va would survive with 5 health, right? Because you do 600 damage on the nose. So now he does 700 damage, means outside of Hammond getting shields, stuff like that, technically Hog still dies in 5 shots. But yes, so it does drop everything by 1. The other one I just already mentioned, and I'll mention this again for the stream viewers, Mei's Wall was dropped to 400 health, and as we've seen it now, that means you can destroy a Mei column in 3 shots, which means if Mei's really bugging your team, you can actually run a Junkrat to destroy her wall incredibly quick. This is a really good change on Blizzard's part, because now Orisa's shield is 800 health, right? I think it's 800. So you can actually, before you would break even with an Orisa, it's 900. 7.5. So it drops 1 shot. So technically you're... So if... I even at Grandmaster I got this a lot. If I'm the only one shooting an Orisa shield, she will have it back up by the time I destroy it. Technically, I think I can fit in 1 grenade past the shield before she gets it down. So it does help that a little bit. Obviously, with 2,000 health, it took 16.5 shots. Oh. So it's down 2 shots-ish. Not a big deal. Adding... I think it will start adding up when you start getting damage with your team. How much damage does all damage amps on a turn primary do? I would have to think about all the damage amps, but it would be a lot. So this is a good change. It only affects direct hits. It doesn't affect splash damage. It doesn't put him over the kill threshold on 200 or hit and less hit points and Bastion at 300. But it does take one shot away from all tanks and 250 hit point heroes, which is great. It's great. That needing that extra shot was difficult. It added a lot to Junkrat. It just added a lot. This is going to be pretty significant of a buff. The other part is that people that watch me, you'll know Concussive Mind does not have the best... it doesn't have the best hit registration. Sometimes I'll bounce it off of someone's head and it'll do 40 damage. With this change, it gives you more leeway when I hit someone with Concussive Mind and a primary. If they had less than 20 health or they survived with less than 20 health before, they're going to die now. So this does help me a little bit in that aspect. What if they decide not to do the 60 and go to, say, 50? If it's 50 damage, it's pretty much pointless. If you do 50 damage, I think that removes the whole advantage of dropping Junkrat down one shot in all heroes. Yeah, so this is a really good change. They did it in a really good way. If people are pissed about this, if people are upset about this, I don't know what they could do to Junkrat for people not to be upset. Because this is technically only helping his skill shot. So yes, he will charge his ult faster, but not by much. Only on direct hits, not a huge deal. Yeah, so this is good. And here's the thing that's right, what I like about it. No one's gonna fucking play him still. They're gonna look at him, they're like, man, he still has the same shitty weaknesses. He's still not strong. Yeah, he does a little more damage. Big whoop. What's 20 damage if I can't hit a guy twice? Well, people that can hit a guy twice were like, holy shit, thank God. Thank God I don't gotta hit the fucker a third time. It's good. As for the rest of these changes, oof, this is a big one, boys. This is a big one. Lucio's like, hey, you're getting knocked down by 10%. Your amp is getting knocked down by 20%. But you know what? We're gonna give you a bonus 10% when you're on the wall. So before, right, you get 30%, but now he's gonna be at 40%. Just while on the wall, he gets an extra 20. So he can actually stand heal longer, and he's still gonna be going pretty damn quick. In fact, yeah, that he can stand heal longer. That's the big thing about this. But they're going to be slower. That's it. They're going to be slower. But he's going to be... God, he's going to be so goddamn quick on the walls. All the Reddit Lucios are going mad right now. They're like, we're unhittable. McCree? We talked about this on the other McCree change. This is clearly something to break shields and kill tanks. I think most heroes that get seen by 1.5 seconds, like 250 hit points and down, won't notice a change, but tanks are going to be fretting in their boots. It's actually a pretty big change. It's going to break a lot of shields. Reaper got changed down to 40%. This is because they said, look, the Reaper change we made makes no difference in high ELO, and in low ELO, he's just a terror. So they're just kind of... They backed it off by 10%. I wouldn't be surprised. Maybe it backed down another 10%, take it back to 30%, and they'll figure some other change to him. If a junk shot bounces through Baptist ult twice, does it get multiplied twice? I have no idea. Symmetra damage ramp increased by 20%. This is good because the mini game with Symmetra is, can I charge and do enough damage to kill you before you kill me? Now, 95% of the time, the answer is no. Symmetra dies. But maybe no, it's like 85%. because she's going to charge a little bit quicker. Also, I think they did this again to deal with Diva. Again, anti-tank, anti-Diva. The Mei changes, anti-Diva. They are doing their goddamn best to not nerf Diva. They could just nerf her. They could change her. They could change her a little bit, but they are refusing to do it. Particle Cannon, Alt Fire, radius reduced 3-2 to 1-2 based on energy level. Well, I think this it will slow down Zarya's alt buildup, and it does matter a bit. At the same time, I don't know what the damage was at this range. Like, at this range of splash damage, if we're looking at the Pharah change, right, well, at the minimum damage, Pharah did 16 to 20. So, like, maybe Zarya was doing what? 10? Right? Because the 16 to 20 damage is based on 120 damage, so Zarya does 90 with her right clicks at max charge, or 95? I forget which one. So the splash damage at the lowest range of that would probably be 20% of that. Like, you see what I'm saying? Like, it's... Okay, the splash damage is definitely getting reduced. That's great. Cool. Love it. But at the same time, it's like... I'd say like 10 damage, 10 to 20 damage. Which, hey, the amount of time she right-clicks, maybe that does make a difference. Maybe people won't even be getting hit now. She won't be getting those like little fractions of charges. I would have to see it in effect, because 1 to 2 meters from 2 to 3, like I can conceptualize it, but it's hard to see. And then Zen, they're finally targeting him. It's about time. If you look at pick rates in all of Overwatch League, the 3 most picked heroes: Diva, Tracer, Zen. Pretty much throughout the entire history of Overwatch, those are the 3 heroes that are almost always picked. Tracer obviously fell out of style this most recent times, but Season 1, Diva, Zen. What is it today? Diva, Zen. So I think we need to see more Diva nerfs, but the Zen nerfs finally came in. They reduced it by 5%. The big thing that we wanna look at, and I've already done the numbers on this, Tracer still dies in 1 shot. So the 120 damage, Hanzo, Widow, Pharah, Junkrat, with a Discord Orb on Tracer, she still dies right away. Now, if they made that 24%, that would change the game. Tracer would be a lot stronger, Zen would be a lot weaker. Zen would be very weak to Tracer at that point. I would say very weak. It'd be more significant. And then they gave him 2 more damage to compensate for that. They obviously want Zen to do damage. I get it. Cool. That's nice. I still think Zen needs a little bit of a nerf. I would actually... People would be like, what are you going to do to him? And I'd be like, oh, just lower his sight line by 1 second on his orbs for them to come off. Nothing huge. I'd actually like to see Azaria's primary reduced by 10% as well. Basically, I want goats to still be good. I just want goats to lack range, is my way of thinking of how to deal with it. And it deals with it with a tactic. So it's not like, oh, you run all these long range heals. It's like, no. You can run 5 normal heals and you can have a longer range hero for the 6th. Or you can just run your normal comp and just attack from longer ranges away and poke a little bit better. Essentially make this poke phase a little bit harder on tanks, which I think would be the nice way to deal with it. But that's neither here nor there, and I'm not Blizzard, and they're not asking me for changes, so we'll see what that's going to. Now, in my title, I say I am upset at Kaplammy. Now, Kaplammy, he did an interview today. He did an interview, and while I don't care, he said some really interesting stuff.
In terms of, like...
I didn't spot check this. I just started clicking. I mean, I watched the whole video, but I actually didn't take notes. I was just like, you know what, I want to talk about this. Yeah, this guy has no idea what he's talking about. But he does ask some questions.
The thing with goats is...
You should introduce a new character that helps with dive. And we did that, and I think the community
Watch this one.
Was all over us about dive. You have to do something about it. We can't possibly have any of our precious dive heroes nerfed. You should
right there. Remember when I said they're never going to nerf Genji or Tracer? What he just said proved that.
introduce a new character. We can't possibly have any of our precious dive heroes nerfed.
They wanted... So, if you want to understand why Brig exists and why she is the way she is...
Whether or not this is the meta breaking or meta reinforcing hero. We've had that experience where, the community was all over us about dive. You have to do something about it. We can't possibly have any of our precious dive heroes nerfed. You should introduce a new character that helps with dive. And we did that, and I think hindsight will show that, maybe be careful what you ask for. In the case of
Jeff,
right there. Good job, community. We gave you what you wanted, and you fucked yourself. Not our fault. It is not our fault that we would not nerf dive. And we had to introduce a new hero. Yeah. And what he says makes 100% sense. If you were in a bubble, and you're like, alright, I have to stop dive, but I'm not allowed to nerf stuff. And then you're like, oh, that would create Brigitte and why she is who she is. I get that. Like, that makes 100% sense. But the thing of not nerfing the goddamn heroes that have been picked, this is why D.Va won't be nerfed. This is why they're buffing Mei, while they're buffing Symmetra, while they're doing everything they can, except, get this, guys, nerfing D.Va. They won't do it. Yeah, we saw a smidge of a nerf with her defense matrix. I mean, I think they need to take a harder stick to her. They really do. But they blame the community, and maybe this is Jeff, and Jeff doesn't have the best PR skills or the public speaking skills. I get it. But it's ridiculous that they refuse to nerf things, and they only buff. Because this is why we're getting super low time to kills, and why all the heroes are getting fucking ridiculous. This is why they can't balance Overwatch, because they won't pull back on anything. We're finally seeing nerfs. After 2.5 years, look, Zen's getting nerfed. Zarya's getting nerfed. Lucio's getting nerfed. This is the first time. These last 2-3 months are the first time we've actually seen nerfs to the hero base. We need more. We have to start lowering the time to kill. We have to do all this, because it's getting really, really excessive. Now, the next thing they talk about... Let me just start this up.
I don't mind the meta changing. I don't mind that. I think it's fine.
A few players actually play.
Yes.
Okay, this is great. We're not seeing Mercy in OWL anymore.
With, okay, now we're like, if we're in the 3-3 meta, which I know not everybody plays that, and I know a lot of,
So, the other part of this interview, and most of it, is actually about the role queue.
I can imagine it.
And this physically pissed me off. Now maybe it's just the way my brain works, but I see an inherent hypocrisy or essentially just bad design choice. And I'm gonna try to find the part, so give me a little bit.
You don't generally see that much, and to be honest, with goats, it is really, if this is the right word to use, but I feel forced to then select Reinhardt or Winston because nobody else is playing that role. I would class Reinhardt, Orisa, Winston as an integral, but I know mains.
Your original question, I'm a huge fan of 2-2-2 comp. I actually think the game has evolved that way. Not even the game, to be honest. I think the player base has evolved and say, boy, the optimal team comp, by the time we ship this game and fascinated with and interested in, we actually really love this idea.
Also, that's his mic.
I think where there's a disconnect between us and our player base is understanding what is actually required in the editor.
So
months and months.
So what he says. So first of all, he does mention that they're like we've ran the numbers. If a DPS player queues up, it would take up to, I believe it's 18 to 28 minutes to find a game if they implemented role queue.
Of rewriting, that if there was a role queue system in place, over time we would see a behavioral shift in the 29-minute queue time.
And Genji's on 3 hours. You actually would, because you may once or twice, but you just would. Easier to balance the game if it was 2-2-2 for you guys.
So this is
definitely.
If it was 2-2-2, would the game be easier to balance? Yes, but it would be a shit game.
Oh, if
and he's like, oh yeah.
2-2-2 would make it easier to play Brigida in to find anybody who doesn't think that,
because I might be like a 4K I've got now.
Okay, so now here comes the hypocrisy. I found it. So this is the start. This is where I get really upset, and I want you guys. You know what I talk about. Those that have read my blog have read it. Let's see if you can figure out what issues I have with his current state.
To a role queue system and say, oh, today I'm going to queue up as a tank because I might be like a 4K tank, but only a 3.5K DPS player. So if I decided to queue up with my global 4K rating as DPS, well, I'd be throwing that game because I would not be capable of playing DPS in that game.
He's not
like another issue there. Would you even?
He's agreeing.
issue? Oh, well, I see it as an issue and an opportunity. One of the things that excites us about making players commit to a role before they enter the match is that we can actually match them theoretically on an MMR, which is a matchmaking rating, accurate to their performance in that role. Because like
right there. Right there. I'll let you guys process it as we let it go a little bit further.
Said if you play Genji 24/7 and you're an amazing Genji player and you never play Reinhardt, but in that one match you just decide to fill as Reinhardt because your team wants, you're playing Reinhardt at a level way beyond your skill or means. So even though you're being a good guy and helping out your team and filling in, your team's probably going to lose because you're not being matched at the accurate skill. When I talk about the workload involved in fixing some of these issues.
Okay. Does anyone see the issues about what he's talking about? So a lot of people are like, oh, it's an argument for one-tricking. Kind of, sort of, yes. But there is a deeper issue on the design fucking platform. The design idea. Like, when you're making this game, that people aren't saying, and I really want to write a bit about it. So, if role queue needs a separate SR for each role, they are admitting that players cannot play each role as well. You know, you can't play each role as well as the other ones. Okay, that makes sense. Like, in our minds, you're like, yeah, of course. But you've designed a game around counter-picking. Saying, hey, if X doesn't work, then switch off the hero and pick Y, you'll be fine. Yet he is saying, you can't be as good as one hero as on the others. Like, that's a natural human tendency. If the game is about hero switching, how can you admit that you don't want people to switch? This is in the fucking in the boardroom on a whiteboard, and you're just like, guys, how are we gonna, design Overwatch? We want counter picking. We want heroes to be good against other heroes, and people have to constantly be switching. And they're like, yeah, but role queue. Let's make them stick to a role so they can't pick other heroes. You remember them saying they never expected anyone to main any hero, so it was flawed from the start. Like, I get that? Like, they're like, oh, everyone's going to be picking, and they're going to be picking heroes that are good at X, Y, and Z times. But they didn't design the game like that. They designed the games with some heroes having counters and other heroes not. That's the bigger issue at hand. And Answer Watch, the biggest issue, is what I wrote about on my fucking blog. But the fact that he comes out here and he goes, yeah, no, you can't. I'm not expecting you to play Genji and then pick Zarya and play at the same skill level. That's crazy. But let's design the game to the fact that you have to play Genji and then pick Zarya and play at the exact skill level. Right? Like, he is admitting that the fucking design, what everything is designed on, and this is why you need to nerf. This is why you have to nerf everyone that basically has low to no counters. Instead of buffing everyone up into the ability to one-shot. Like, Widow and Hanzo. I know people are like, oh, but you can just jump on them. It's like, have you ever played against a good one? You're dead by the time you're in the air going at them. You have to change your entire composition around one hero. What about Diva? Like, they're trying their fucking hardest. Jeff, not this Jeff, the balancer Jeff goes, man, we thought we'd see more Sim after those changes to beat Diva. We're actually, he said that. He goes, we were hoping Sim was going to be the answer to Diva. What a fucking joke. Sim's never been an answer to anything. But they're throwing Sim buffs, they're throwing Mei buffs, they're doing whatever they can just to do what they, to keep Diva as strong as she is. Because they're too afraid to nerf them. Like, it's really upsetting. It's really, really upsetting that they're taking all this data and they're just like, yeah, fuck it. We're just doing what we want. It's ridiculous. It is absolutely ridiculous. And at a design level, if you just put what they've done with the game, you would realize how many of it is, like, they're countering themselves. How do you counter Blizzard? You pick Blizzard. Because Blizzard beats Blizzard. Like, they don't know what the fuck they're doing. It's really, really irritating. The answer is nerf the overpowered heroes, take counters, throw it out the fucking window. That's what they have to do. They have to stop providing everyone with hard answers. That's it. That's the only way to make Overwatch go long. Because guess what, guys? There's going to be a meta after GOATS, even if we kill it, and it's going to suck just as much. Unless we've hit some balance point where everything's viable, essentially they just keep on buffing and doing random shit, and like, a bunch of monkeys on a typewriter will make Shakespeare. Like, it's possible. It's really irritating. This is when I heard this, I was so upset. I was so goddamn upset. I'm like, how can you come out and endorse maining and more or less one-tricking, but then with all your design choices, say, no, you have to switch heroes. And then on top of that, you say, no, you don't have to switch heroes if you're playing these really good heroes that don't have counters. And they're trying to make these heroes have counters, but we saw what the idea of counters does. Like, it makes heroes like Brigitte, and it's just not fun. It's annoying. It's annoying, and I've been streaming for like an hour and a half bitching about this stuff. But yes. The issue with Overwatch is that it's Answer Watch. They're providing answers. And someone said that it was confirmed by a dev. The Junkrat does 140 damage. Let's try to find that. I like how people are like, wait, a rocket does 120? And she has 6 of them, and they're faster, and they fly in a direct line, but one small grenade only does 140? Oh, God. Well, what? I hate these web pages. These people are like, oh, he's still inconsistent. Yeah, Junkrat's shitty in your hands, buddy, not shitty in mine. I want to see the goddamn post that says it. Where is it? I want to see it. McCree Deadeye change makes it more effective against targets with HP higher than 250. It reaches 500 damage in about 2 seconds now. Used to take 2.4. Okay, so that's good. Yep, Junkrat does now 140 per direct hit. Impact is 60. Explosion is still 80. As I said it, bickety bam. Don't ever question me again, guys. Booyah! He will get tired faster again. Oh! He's going to get his tire faster at 20 damage a hit. Whoa. Fucking people. Man, people will complain about anything. Anyways, that's the end of my rant. I'll post that on YouTube. Hopefully, I'm not even going to clip it. Fuck it. I don't care. It's going to go on there. If people like it, they like it. If they don't, they don't. It's me yelling about, 2 hours.